there's anyone there seeing this, you're going to notice that there are three fewer people than there are supposed to be right now. That's because there's just me right now. There's just me. And that's okay, because I have lots to talk about regardless. That's my secret, Cat. I'm always talking. Uh, One of the big things I want to speak on is how incredibly important it is to promote others first. So, what do I mean by that? Honestly, reciprocity, the idea of like when you reciprocate something, that is, I came up in hardcore punk. Okay. So, that is the scene's distribution system. It's our version of karma. And so, I was talking with Elan Majenovich from Authors of Fate. If you're into metal of any kind, check them out. They're awesome. It was actually my first interview for Make Break, um, and I I'm just kind of jumping into it. I should have probably introduced myself first, but I don't think there's anybody even paying attention right now anyway, so it's all good, man. Um, so it is a okay. Um, so uh, anyway, I wanted to go back into what I was talking about a minute ago. So how do we take care of each other first? You've got to post videos of every band that you play with. Put them in your story every day that you have a show. I know that it doesn't really do you any good directly, but it helps everyone. And one of the biggest things that I'm learning about this is that when you help others, that is in itself the ultimate goal. There is the self fulfillment that you achieve first, and then there is the part that you do afterwards, where once you've finished working on yourself, once you've got your own foundations in order, the next step naturally is community. Um, and now I have Erin here with me. Welcome, Erin, to the live AMA.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good.
I didn't even do any intros. I just started talking about one of my neuro bits because I figured, screw it, let's just get into it.
Okay. Uh, okay, sure. We're like legitimately live.
Oh yeah, 100%. We're on YouTube. Hi everyone.
Oh, okay.
So here we are. I don't mess about. I'll just jump right into it. Is it stupid? Yes. Is it smart? No. But we're gonna do it anyway. We don't have Mark just yet. I believe that he might be on the road. So if he is not indeed here for the episode, apologies. If anyone's here under false pretenses, darn. But also, um, yeah, we're gonna go into some neuro bits that we have anyway right now, and we're just gonna talk about some things that I have to discuss. So what I was talking about a second ago, Aaron, is we there's this idea of promoting other bands first. This is an idea that was from the first interview that I ever did for Make Break, my podcast, with Elon Majenovich from Authors of Fate, California metal band, and yeah, he basically said like, and he's saying the same thing that we did in hardcore, where he said like we post videos of every band we play with in our story every day that we have a show, and it doesn't really do us any good directly, but it helps everyone, and by helping everyone, they get to go back because they're not taking videos of themselves. Like this is the thing that promoting other bands first is how opportunity actually moves through a scene, right? And so, and I was also linking it to there's this idea in, like, even in Buddhism, like one of the key things that you do is you achieve your own personal, I guess enlightenment might be a bit grandiose. There is achieving fulfillment within oneself, and then there is going out, and it's called bodhisattvahood, where you then spread that to your community. You take what you have learned, what you have achieved, what you have attained, and then you spread it throughout your community. And it's the same thing that I have with it. There's an analogy that Jer Carriere, who is on our one of our last two live AMAs ago, and whose memoir and book is forthcoming, called Wild to Wise, and that's actually coming out on October 1st this year. So pre-orders should be up soon. Um, in that, during over the process of working with her on that book, she shared an example of there was an indigenous hunter that was being followed around by a journalist, and the hunter had just successfully bagged, I think it was a moose or elk or whatever. It doesn't matter. They bagged a large game um, animal, and he's carving up and looking to distribute it. And then he says, okay, well, then this part is for this family, and then this part is for this family, and this part's for going to be for that family. Basically, putting is allotting all of these different things to go elsewhere and not in his own freezer. And the journalist is doing some quick mental math and asks him, like, he's just mystified. He's like, I'm sorry, I have to ask, like, you could have this, like all of this, and you could last the entire winter, um, but you're giving pretty well over the majority of this to everyone else. I'm sorry, I just don't understand it. And this hunter kind of looks at him and is kind of confused a little bit, but he said, I don't, the riches are in my neighbor's stomach, right? That is kind of what we're trying to do, give, and thus, with no, I mean, it's not true altruism. I would argue that there's never any true altruism. Maybe there is, I don't know. But like, it's a vanishingly rare thing if there ever is any. And that's not, and that's the point though, is like, let it fulfill you for the sake of knowing that there might be some reciprocity. Don't do it only for that, because you're going to get disappointed every time. You're going to walk around with a chip on your shoulder. But like, give of yourself to others, right? I don't know. Like, the shout out returns nothing directly, but that's why it works. You become the act that other people can help, and the scene routes bills, shows, tours, slots towards whoever visibly makes it easier for everyone else. Even if you just take a purely cold, rational, logical approach to this, you're the person that's helping others. Why the fuck wouldn't they work with someone that's going to make things easier for everybody? Make it easy for everyone else. Give people the assets that they can't make themselves. Give them the footage of your own set, or of the entire set. Tag somebody. Give a clip, share a clip. Invite a collab. Do a playlist swap or slot or whatever. Do a standing schedule. I don't know. But like, you can't do this and keep score. That's where I'm kind of coming from right now. That's the one thing. So I would say that this is like, I get worried when people are like, oh, so you mean like follow for follow? I'm like, absolutely not. That's not what I'm talking about at all. In fact, forget all that shit. Follow for follow is not what I'm talking. In fact, it's so not what I'm talking about here. The second you start tracking the return, it becomes a trade, and trades get resented. Okay? And it also does not replace the work. Most bands are not unlucky, they just don't put in enough effort. Right? So I would say, like, maybe look at how people, I don't know, maybe instead of thinking about something that has cost you something and then got nothing in return, think about ways that you can just spread that, right? I have to ask Erin, like, what do you think we do in this
Mhm.
context? If anything can come to mind, are there any examples you can think of that where we've seen either with our artists or with ourselves where we are living with that value, where there's something that is tangible that's being provided, even though it doesn't really benefit us?
Yeah, yeah. I think we have incorporated that into a lot of what we do in some capacity or another. I think one instance is what we're doing right now. Actually, we are giving away, information, our own expertise, our own insights, our knowledge. We're, also passing over the microphone to another guest artist, or, industry professional whenever we can to
Yep.
get their perspective. And, that exists as a like sort of communal resource for, asynchronously, if anyone tunes into the live stream or watches it at a later date, they can like get the knowledge, insight, and wisdom that ourselves and our guests provide, for free, like essentially, like and there's plenty of other things similar to that we do. That's in the I mean, we have a tendency to sort of over deliver in certain areas where it's like, we can spend time with a client or an artist and sort of like listen to them and then pick out like, oh, by the way, like just impromptu, in our conversation, in our back and forth, be like, actually, let's spend some time on that particular point. It's unrelated to like what we're actually the agenda items of the meeting, but that warrants some additional like love, attention, or knowledge or insight or guidance, right? That it's not exactly, even more in the sense of like free advice, right? So yeah, we do that sort of thing continually, and even our, I would argue that like our industry insider newsletters as well, right?
Yeah. I mean,
That's a kind of like a repository sort of, or weekly digest of like not only like things that we've posted online, but then like it's a little bit of your own insights too, Lance. That little blurb that's written up at the very front of the newsletter, right? So that's
yeah, it's true. Yeah, I try to make sure that I have something that's of value to people no matter what, because it's not it. Again, I said that this is not about true altruism, and what you were saying is like when you do things, you're coming up with examples of things that we do for others, and like, um, uh, I think it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, there might not be a true example of complete like completely selfless giving, but like you, it's like that scene from I Think You Should Leave, the show I Think You Should Leave, where he says, you gotta give. It's precisely like that. Like you have to, you gotta give. Clearly a very serious thing. And uh, I wanted to elephant in the room. There is no Chris today. You know why? Because he went and he did something pretty extremely rare, actually. Wait for it. He had a vacation. I know,
wow,
unthinkable,
wow.
unthinkable.
This
Uh,
guy.
I know. This is the guy putting in 16-hour days, and yet when it comes time to, have one whole week out of the year, I can categorically tell you that that is. He explained what he's up to, and I can tell you that that is not a vacation. That sounds like a goddamn
Mm.
nightmare to me. They have like all their kids, who are all under the age of 10, in Toronto, and I'm like, that's not a
Mm-mm.
vacation. That's parenting in a different location with less resources. That's what
Mm-mm.
I think that is. I can tell you that that is absolutely not something that I wish to do ever. So hard no on that. Hard pass. Um, so that's what Chris is up to this week. And transparently, I'm going to be uh, trying to sort out childcare for the next 2 weeks after
Mm.
this. So the end of August, beginning of September are my blackout. So I've already written it in my Verse and Vision on Monday, which is the literary newsletter that I put out, which, again, transparently and to my own benefit, I will say I've been serializing a fiction series called Torturer. Charming name, I'm sure. Um, Go figure, it's horror. I know, surprising. Um, I did manage to get part 8 out on Monday, which I'm happy with.
Mhm.
There was a good 3, 4 weeks of delay between writing parts there, but there's always something going out every week. However,
Mhm.
even on Monday's issue, I said I'm going to be out for the next couple weeks, so sorry, apologies. This is not a money making exercise for me. This is a thing that I do out of the bloody love of it. And
Mhm.
yes, I do get to collect email addresses, but like I don't get to necessarily do anything nefarious or particularly cool with that. I just keep sending the newsletter.
Mhm.
As soon as that stops being something that makes people happy or that they wish to receive, they just unsubscribe and I can never talk to that person again. So like I think like yes, it is true that like there is a purpose and a reason for funneling people, but
Mhm.
like eh, I mean only to so only to such an end. Like it's not like it's like I'm not like printing money with this email like it's not a thing. I do get to like send emails to them. Whoa.
Mhm.
But like I don't know if you noticed, but like emails not that captive. Some people are like, "Oh,
Yeah.
to my email? Oh, are you sure?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah. Do you not work entirely from your email and you are obsessive compulsive about like your foldering system?" And they're like, "I don't think I've even looked at my email in like years." And I'm like, I don't put your words that you just said back in your mouth and swallow them because I don't want to hear that at all. I hate that. You
I
and I
think there's a
live
lot
and
of
die by email. Same with Chris.
I
With certain
think
people.
there's a lot of people out there that think email is dead though. But they would be incorrect.
Yeah, you know what? I love that because that gives me a total rant attack,
Yeah.
a chance for ranting.
Go off.
I would, for
I'll be
me,
an enabler.
for me, hierarchy of channel mediums in terms of efficacy, it goes text, like SMS, boom, right at the top. That's the
Mhm.
god. That's the goat. Seriously, text is king, in my view.
Mhm.
But it's also like the most heavily regulated, and if you get into that space, you better watch your back because you're
Mm.
gonna get got if you aren't careful.
Yeah.
You got to
Yeah.
really watch your step. You can't just casually text anyone. That's not a thing. So not a thing. But like text, you know what? We're about to go into like talk about open rates and visibility and reach. When's the last time you didn't open a text? Right? Open rates are
True.
like always north of 99%. Everyone's going to open a fucking text, okay? So like that is not a thing. It's always going to be get opened. So
Mhm.
anyway, but that's why you got to treat it with like the ultimate respect. If you start spamming people with like, "Hey,
Mm.
like I got like a new like reel out and it's kind of cool, maybe check." Like, nah.
No.
That's only for like big releases.
Mm.
So, this is it. We've got Mark on the line. We're gonna have Mark in, and this is exciting because he's joining us now. Mark, how are
Hey,
you?
hey
Hey,
guys.
no worries.
I
How's it
have it
going?
down for 2 o'clock, not 1 o'clock. So sorry
So
for
this
the
is
missed
that's
time.
okay. We're currently live, and that is absolutely fine. It is totally okay. This is why we actually work. We're from the cuff. We're just right fire from the hip, and honestly, it's actually a really good reminder that like clarity in comms is down to both
Mm.
parties. So like
Yeah.
Mark, you just did the professionals thing where you said, "Apologies, I'm taking ownership of like my portion of that." And like my portion of that is I should have been way clearer. Like, hey, it's 2 p.m. Eastern. Just make sure and like do the top of the morning comms, which I didn't do. I did the 10 minutes beforehand comms, which should have been beforehand. The thing about this is we're always trying to give something. And actually, Mark, you're the perfect person for this because so transparently, Mark has been on my podcast before, and it was a great experience because Mark is, I don't know, you are positive vibes, dude. I will just say, like, it's always a
Thank you,
pleasure.
Lance.
It is
I appreciate
always
that.
an actual pleasure because I am such a misanthrope, and I'm such an like I take a pretty dim view of things. Like my brand is called low key hellish, so like I acknowledge that I tend towards the grim, but I'm not like blind to life itself and its possibilities. And what always brightens my day is when you can have like a very scientific or logical or rational view of that. And Mark is probably one of the best people for that, but I won't use the usual intros. In fact, I'll just go with the one that I came up with for yourself. So we're actually going to do proper intros here.
Okay.
I know I came prepared. Mark Winters is back with us today. Now, Mark is a singer, songwriter, and guitarist out of Sugar Land, Texas, who got here after a career in aerospace engineering, and he runs his own label, Bernoulli Records. When he was on Make Break back in April with me, he was packing for the Good Vibes Highway Tour, which was 107 dates, all self-booked. And you're about roughly two-thirds of the way through it now. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm so just an update. So I do a spring and a fall tour.
Ah,
Um, Technically, they're both called Good Vibes Highway Tour. One just going west in the spring, and one's going east in the fall.
nice.
And so my show tomorrow night is the kickoff of the eastern side of the Good Vibes Highway Tour, and I think I have 67 shows on the
Nice.
eastern leg, and so just about ready to hit the road and share some protons.
Yes. So you always say share some protons as a call sign. I love it. Can you just the the dim for the people that don't know why you say that, can I ask you to explain a little bit about why you say that?
Yeah, yeah. And I like, you almost said the dim, and that could be taken one or two ways. Like dim, I think of like people who just don't have enough brightness in their life. So for me,
Right. That's a
like
good way of putting it.
so if you remember back to science class, you have electrons, protons, and neutrons, right? That make up, the atoms that we all sort of are familiar with as the building blocks of the universe. And so, the characteristics of a proton are positive and stable, both. And so for me, that's just kind of always been my personality. I'm kind of home base for everybody. People bring me their problems. And then I like trying to sort of visit a situation, and my brain just naturally looks for the positive elements into it. And so when I started, I didn't grow up saying "think like a proton," but as I was expressing myself as a musician and writing music, I found it was a convenient way for people to understand a little bit about my positive inclination and also about my science background, at the same time. And so think like a proton for me is like find the positive in your situation. If you can do it, if you can, right?
Love it.
And if someone's struggling around you, help them find the positive, right?
It's interesting that you say that because, and like, I feel like a magician where I'm like, now, you know that now I have never met you before, you right? And you see that I have not opened my hands, yes? So, like, transparently, at the top of this, I was just getting into a neuro bit. I call them neurobits about these atomic insights. It's funny that you have we go to the atom, but I have these atomic insights that are they're powerful, but they try to be like bits granular. And the one that I was talking about today at the very top of it was about reciprocity and how you can raise others by doing the inverse of what you normally do, which is instead of asking for and demanding, you instead give. And it's not like utterly altruistic. I acknowledge that it's like quite logic, even from like a cold, rational, logical, utterly, you know, um, um, exchange based way of looking at it, you are still creating a reciprocity. You are inspiring confidence in yourself, but at the same time, you are still doing it by giving to others. And there's still a net positive that is occurring in your scene, in your community. But as a result of that, it's interesting that it's that was where it kind of went to right away. And I love the synchronicity there. Anyway.
Yeah, I think I don't know. Erin, are you inherently a positive or negative person?
Uh, Depends. Probably like more like pragmatic and realistic. I can see both sides sometimes simultaneously, but
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you know, to me, like you don't know how much, I guess, joy comes from doing something until you do it.
Mm.
And for me, like helping other people, it's just a great joy element in my life. And so if I, um, if I see someone who's down, helping them, I'm not doing it from a point of, hey, look, maybe someone will help me, or maybe you'll do something for me because I'm helping you. I'm doing it because I'm like, hey, this person needs something. I found over time that if I can help someone else, I feel really good,
Hmm.
right, about myself. And I feel more grateful for the things that I have because I'm helping someone else who may not have those things or who may be coming from a different perspective. And so over time, I've learned that that's just a great joy builder for me. And so I don't do it, uh, you know, uh, for the reciprocity element, like you said, Lance. I do it because it brings me joy, and I didn't know it would bring me joy until I did the thing. And some people, it's a no joy event. Helping other people, they don't like that. It's like, okay, I feel you, but for
Yeah.
me, I think it's a great joy builder, and if I can get a community engaged around something also that is lifting everyone up in the community, boy, that's like it's like a times 10 multiple for me. It's pretty amazing.
That's true. I mean, and music at its purest form, which I'm always reminded that Oscar Wilde always he said that music was the purest form of art, and I'm always reminded that music at its purest form is literally just a giving of oneself in the most immediate, tangible sense, and in the most primal, innate way that we as humans can do things. Like we were making music, whether intentionally or not, long before we were, you know, uh, drawing. Um,
Hieroglyphics on the cave wall. Yeah, I
exactly.
think
Yeah.
for sure, just go out, So like I'll go out on my back patio at night. There's music. I mean,
Yes.
the the frogs and the crickets, everybody's singing,
Yep.
right? They're out there singing away, and you can find the joy in that. I think
Yep.
it's interesting that Oscar Wilde and Albert Einstein almost have the same quote about music and its ultimate expression of creativity.
Huh.
I
That's
think they have,
interesting.
yeah.
That's interesting. I literally so that I always get a little bit worried about like when I have had a quote attributed to something because I'm like there's like an entire cottage industry now that's arisen about justifying attributions for quotes. So I'm like,
Yeah.
did I? But that one I'm actually confident about because I did. That is one of the rare quotes that I bring up where I'm like, I've actually seen that from this dude, from him
Mm-hmm.
specifically. Um, this is the fun part of having a minor in English is that you will
That's good. I'm
occasionally.
glad someone has one because I don't have that,
Yeah, well,
for sure. You
it
want to know
has.
about calculus? Ask me.
Oh
You
yeah,
want to know about English? No, not
yeah.
so much.
So, uh, so that's it is interesting though that Einstein himself being a musician, I thought that he played violin to get
Yeah.
himself. Yep.
That's correct.
Which
Yep.
again, vibrations, frequency. I don't know. I feel as though I don't know. There's something about sound that always feels a little bit more like a little bit more important. I mean, let's put it this way: ears, the one sense where you can't like choose to stop it out of
Right.
you can never just choose to not hear something. You can close your eyes, you can not taste something, you can not put out a hand to feel. I mean, we're always sensing in touch, but like we can't just we can't just blink our ears. I don't know, maybe that's a pretty that might not be the most accurate one, but I don't know, there's something about that as our sense that has always intrigued me.
Yeah. I think there's an enormous amount of, I'll just call it like potentiation for me. Like in
Mm.
music, if I'm rollerblading and
Hmm.
it's quiet, I don't quite enjoy it as much as if I have the perfect soundtrack in my ears, right?
Right.
And it's like lifting me up even further than just being out, right?
Yeah, it's
You know,
true.
if I'm driving or if I'm studying or whatever I happen to be doing, I think music, that, like you said, the vibrations, the feeling, however it sort of gets in your brain and
Hmm.
it does its magic. I think it brings out the edges, the brighter elements of life around you in some way. And even if you could blink it, Lance, I don't know if I would want to turn it off, man. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, same here. Even for the harsh noises, even for the I've got two kids under the age of two youngins, and boy, what I wouldn't give at the same time to occasionally blink it, but I am here for that journey. Much as may sometimes feel at the beck and call and the mercy of these youngins, I try to remember to remain present for that. I No conversation doesn't go off the rails with me. What I'm going to do is try to pick ourselves back up because Chris isn't here. Apologies. He was actually so he did plan to be to be dialing in, but he is actually away and had planned to he planned to be here, but he's taken this very rare vacation and he asked, would you be able to run it without me? And I was like, dude, you literally work 16-hour days every day of this year. You've got quarter million emails that you've gotten your sent box. Yeah, I'm good. It's okay. Please
Right.
take the time for God's sake.
Chris,
Like,
enjoy your vacation, man.
honestly, dude, 60 minutes. Come on. So anyway, I wanted to ask you some pragmatic, some practical pieces for the musicians that are looking to forge their own way and want to understand because the biggest thing for lots of musicians is the touring aspect, the shows. So when you were packing up for the Good Vibes Highway Tour the last time you were on with us, what turned out different from what you had planned for?
Um, you know, I guess there's always like musical elements that are happening to you along a tour. So the way you play a show, you learn different ways to arrange your music, you experiment, you try different things. Maybe you've got songs you've written and you're refining to maybe release, and so you're trying them out. And so there's always one of the things I love about being out on tour is you get to play every night. And
Mm,
so you get, if you're
true.
thoughtful about it, you get a chance to try out a lot of different approaches and tunes along the way and really, fine tune the stories about your songs and the arrangement of the song. Maybe even the key, you might change the key of a song in some way, right? And so for me, I learned a lot, in the spring in that area. Um, there's always logistical weirdness, when you're out on the road. Uh, my I pull a trailer, so I have a small
Okay.
SUV, and I have a trailer.
Cool.
And my trailer's heater broke in Fargo, North Dakota, which is not a good place for it to break. It was very
No,
cold in the spring there,
not ideal. Yeah.
and I couldn't figure out what was going on with it. So I ended up making it to Denver and dropping it at a dealer in Denver. Um, and it took them 4 months working with the manufacturer to figure out
What?
what was tripping the circuits. And
Are you kidding me?
you're like, okay, well, and so
Damn.
last year I put 50,000 miles on my trailer and my SUV, and I had a routine. You got your stuff, you got your routine, like your living stuff, right? You know how to shop, for food in a trailer. You know how to cook, how to, clean, how to set it up in a public land. So you have all these routines you've developed around having a trailer, and then now all of a sudden, sorry, no trailer. And so I had to figure out the logistics of that. And then I got to Reno, and my SUV blew a head gasket.
No. Are you kidding
Uh,
me?
yeah. And so I think, like lessons learned, though, right? Uh, so I don't know, Erin, Lance, y'all ever pull a trailer any long distance? Is that a thing for y'all?
It.
No.
No,
What about you,
we
though?
the closest I've come to anything like that was an RV, a Winnebago, back when I was like 10, from here to Vegas. We didn't pull a trailer though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's.
apparently that's bad for your engine for the long run, right?
Oh, I
It
see.
can be, depending on if your vehicle is made to tow, right? And so
Oh,
even though my vehicle was in the towing limit and all these other things, right? So it was made. What I learned is, like, if you're gonna tour heavily, you need a vehicle that's economically made to tour in.
right,
So it needs to
right.
be comfortable, but that's secondary. So what I learned is that the tour economics, the financial economics, worked in my favor, having a very gas efficient car and
Mm,
staying in hotels. It was cheaper by half versus pulling my trailer, and I usually stop in a public park somewhere like a KOA or something like that twice a week with my camper, and the rest of the time I'm off grid. But the cost of pulling the trailer is so high, right? That having I can stay in a hotel and have a like I was the last part of my tour I toured in a minivan that had no seats, so like a kind of like a cargo van,
yeah,
but it gets 40 miles to the gallon,
yeah,
right?
beautiful.
As opposed to pulling my trailer, I get 9 or 10.
Right.
You think about, you're driving 300 or 400 miles a day. That's a huge expense,
Yeah,
right?
it really is.
So anyway, so I learned a ton about logistics and things breaking down, and I don't know, maybe like being mindful of the endurance element
Hmm.
of touring. So I learned I could sing, I could play, I can, I can entertain, I can, I can plan shows, that sort of thing. I learned I could do really well the first tour, but I didn't really hit logistical bumps. And so the second tour I did, the one I'm doing this year, has taught me a ton about, like, the endurance. It's a marathon, man. You're out building one or two fans a night. You're not getting 10,000. You know, your 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 vehicles, everything about your emotion as a touring artist has to have this endurance element to it. I was watching this podcast from the Red Clay Strays, who are quite successful now, but several different podcasts where Brandon, the lead singer, was saying, hey, we've been grinding for 10 years on the road, playing 200 shows a year, and we're just trying to keep the wheels on the bus, right? And then all of a sudden, something happens, and now they're, playing arenas, right? But it's an endurance game, right? Until you get the right motion and it hits at the right time, you need to be prepared mentally and physically and financially, right, for the fact that it's an endurance. So I learned a lot in the tour so far.
Right, and I think it's interesting that you brought up endurance, because like touring musicians fascinate me in the sense that like when you really think about the fact that you got to like drive from one city to another, tow all of your gear, all of your luggage, book a hotel, perform and still be energized for the performance, and then, ship up and go to the next. I always, regardless of like the size of the act, it's like anybody who's doing that, I have such like a huge respect for the stamina. So you mentioned endurance. Like, what is your sort of like specific mindset, or how do you sort of prepare yourself to like play the long game, like go the distance without burning yourself out?
That's a good question, and I'm not sure that there's like a recipe yet, but there's some things that I've observed. Like, okay, if I drive more, let me back up. I get energized playing my music with a crowd of 1 or 100, doesn't matter, but a community, people who are there to connect. And so every night I get a lift. And so if I come into the room, I know my craft well enough, I'm not stressing out about my set list or this or that. I'm there to meet people, right, and share energy. And so that lifts me up every night. And so that's the positive side, but then there's a whole lot of logistics of life that you have to deal with, like you said. And what I've learned is that my balance equation, I can't drive more than 5 hours a day consistently and do everything else I need to do, right? Whether it's living, sleeping, running. I have to do at least an hour's worth of exercise a day to keep myself sane. So when I get wherever I'm going to go, I go for a run, rollerblade, surf, whatever, right? So 5 hours of driving, 1 hour of, just enjoying athletics in some way outdoors, and then most everything, and then I get my lift at night for the show, and I can do that pretty consistently without being tired. So when I get home, I'm not tired. I could have just done another 2 months because I'm in the motion of it, right? And I kind of know myself. But I didn't know. Like a couple of times I did 7 or 8 hour drives 3 or 4 days in a row, and just wasn't feeling it. It was just wearing me out. And so I learned that 5 hours is a good time. So yeah, there's an endurance element. Can you sing, right? Are you prepared to sing every night? Do you have the vocal technique? Did you learn properly to sing, right? The same thing can be said for piano and guitar and whatever. So, I think, yeah, and then I think like expectations, Erin, like, everybody maybe dreams of playing an arena, but you got to put your time in. You got to go through the grinder. Got to learn your craft. You got to learn it. You got to pay your dues. And that's important, I think, so that when opportunities come in front of you, I think if you've been out touring, you understand the opportunity way better. Right? I can imagine, like, I'll go back, my pre-touring self, if Mount Joy was coming to Houston,
right,
and I put my name in the hat to open for them, and they said, "Love to have you, Mark," I would have had no business whatsoever being on that stage. right? That's just their their stages are too big, their crowds are too big. I just 2 years ago, I wasn't the musician who I didn't even know,
Yeah.
right? You just don't know. Um, but now that I've been touring, even though I'm way better than I was, that's a I've never played in an arena, right? Like
Yeah.
that. I've never put the team together to play with me at an arena, right? So that in my mind, that would be like I would have to tell them, look, I'm not ready. You guys are going to have to help me through everything, right? Because I'd love to play with you guys, but hey, it's just too big of a deal for me, right? I
Right.
don't have the chops to put the team together to do it. I mean, can I sing and play it? Yeah, sure, but that's not the whole game, right? And so just being aware of what's the next step for you in your growth and what are you ready for. I remember seeing a couple of YouTube bits. Said somebody Jackson, James Jackson, I don't know. It's a famous like a music coach to prepare live performers to
Okay.
understand how to build a set list arc, how to perform, how to stylistically interpret your music in a way that creates dynamics with the crowd, how to, you know, how to choreograph your movement around the mic and
Oh,
the
cool.
moments you're creating and everything in a performance,
Wow. Yeah.
right?
Okay.
And you know, just his just watching some of his coaching excerpts about you know learning how to be a front man, or if you're a guitar player, how do you know what's the right way to be a guitar player where you're additive to the act, right? And you're making the act better, and you're not stomping on everybody or whatever else, right?
Right. Right. Right.
And so I think there's just a lot of growth you've got to go through before you really understand how to, where you are and what's the next step for you, right? And so pay your dues, right? Be aware. Be aware of what the next step is. I think that's an important element to Erin.
Yeah, that's good, and that also kind of puts me in mind of like another question because you're saying like knowing what stage of development or where you are and what you're capable of, and whether a particular place would be like too ahead of where you are. So I think that it kind of ties into like the question in the sense of like when you decide to like plot out where you're playing, what venues, what stages. How do you decide like which is worth playing, whether or not you've ever been in that room? Like you sort of like go about gauging, where you are and what would be a good fit for you, while you're also like mapping out geographic logistics as well.
Yeah, for sure, Erin. I think I've learned, like, for me, because I'm out touring as a solo artist, right? So, and my draw, like 100 to 300 person room, is the biggest room I should play. I should never book anything bigger than that. It's just I don't have the draw, right? I don't have a full band, right? And I do loop, but I don't play with tracks, right? And so there's a certain sound level everyone expects when you're in these bigger rooms, right? And so I think for me, that's kind of where I am. I think that I've also learned like songwriters in the round is a good way for me to have multiple acts involved in a show with me. And so I've been booking
Okay.
more and more of those. I enjoy them immensely. I love riffing off of each other in a round, and I love the fact that it's a shared community, right? We all bring our fans, and the people who are there are all there to hear live original music, right? And so the crowd has the right ears, and the community is there for everyone to express and support each other. And I just love that kind of a vibe. But I had to go through the other pieces, like, okay, I book a show and I have to have two local support people, And maybe I booked a full band. I booked whoever I could get that was sort of in my lane, right? That was not too big. And so but it's weird to have a 4-piece band and a 4-piece band and then a solo songwriter as the headliner. It's just, it's weird. The audio element of it is weird, right?
Right.
And then when you do that, the fans for the first band show up for the first set and then they leave. And then the fans for the second band show up and then they leave. And then your fans show up. And so it's not a shared experience anymore, which is less joyful for me. I mean, I like listening to other people's music, and that's all cool. But if I'm thinking about it like it's a fan, the fans who come to a writer's round are always having a good time, right? Because that's what they're there for. And the shared sense of community is something that we can blend together in that format. So I think as I think about a room, I think, okay, all the rooms that I've played now, 2 tours worth of rooms, I recognize this room is too big for me, or this room, it's like maybe it's a metal club, right? So they have a nice stage, but they got a metal club, and you look at the acts that are playing there, and you're like, they'll take anybody, but it's not a listening room.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that hurt you? Well, what I've learned is, like, even the sound engineer who's working the venue thinks like a metal guy, because that's the bands that typically come there. So even though they'll have you, they compress your vocal, right? They chop off the top and the bottom of it, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to fit it in, right, to the vocal range of a metal singer.
Right.
Wow.
Because that's what their ear is trained to do. They're like, well, no, this is a songwriter show, dude, right? We don't do any of that, right? And so, yeah, you kind of learn who's playing there, what the size of the room is.
Right.
Kind of helps give you signals. And then knowing yourself, like, this is my type of show. Would John Mayer, Ed Sheeran, Vance Joy, would a folk pop, folk rock style musician, if you just scaled them down to my level of room, would they play there? And if the answer is yes, okay, that makes sense for me then.
That makes sense. Okay. Well, okay. I want to, we've got a quiet room today, so we're going to go deeper than usual. I'm going to try and make you show your work a little bit. So I think the biggest thing that I want, first of all, transparently, and in terms of like just a little bit more about me and where I come from when it comes to this, is like I am such a massive fan of like just competency and proficiency in every way, shape, or form. Like whenever I love certain movies, because of the relationships or the dialogue or the plot, it's because the characters that are in there, they know what they need to do, and then the movie just shows them being very good at doing that thing. And so things like No Country for Old Men, the main character, and also Anton Chigurh, the antagonist as well, they're both these guys that are like very proficient at a very specific set of skills. And a lot of the movie just shows them being extremely proficient at how they would negotiate and navigate these really unlikely but incredibly hair-raising and high-stakes environments and situations. So all of that said, I'm a big fan of like seeing how things are done. So if I had to ask, and maybe this is a little too much like of showing how the sausage is made, but so stop me if you're a little uncomfortable with it. But would you be willing to walk me through booking one date on this tour, but like from start to finish? Like, who did you email? What did you say? How many messages did it take? Is it possible to get something a bit more tangible in terms of like what that looks like as a process?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, but we'll make it random because I'm not gonna share a specific venue's worth of information because they
Of
don't.
course, yeah,
It's
of
only the
course.
venues don't want that, right? And not
No,
that I
no,
don't
no, no. They
care,
don't. They don't love
right?
that.
Yeah. So we'll say I'm gonna play a show in LA, okay? And so why would I play a show in LA? So the first choice is like, which direction is my tour going? Like where I am right now, I'm building my audience. And so it makes sense for me to directionally find a venue because I'm driving everywhere and I have a 5-hour limit. And so let's say I just finished playing a show in San Diego, or I just finished booking a show in San Diego. And so now I'm looking for the next step in the tour. And so
Right.
the logic would say LA is sort of in the direction I want to go, right?
Okay.
And I may have another show on the other side of LA, so that maybe even makes it more clear logistically that LA is the right spot. And so for me, I'm like, all right, I look at LA and I put together a giant spreadsheet of all the venues in LA, and I get rid of too big, and I get rid of covers only, and I'm left with maybe, I don't know, 25 venues, let's say. Okay.
Yep.
But maybe I really want to play at one particular one, but don't psych yourself out. Like
Okay.
stuff has to happen. Like I have this new song that I just wrote 2 days ago called Thread the Needle, right? If you're going to get the exact venue on the exact date in the exact city that you want, it's like so improbable, just don't expect it. And so for me, I'm looking at these 25 venues in LA. I'm like, all right, I'm going to go to their webpage, look them all up. Who does their booking?
Right.
Then I'm going to go in that same spreadsheet, I'm going to say, who do I know that's played there before? And I'm going to put that down. And so let's say out of the 25, there's 15 overlaps, like people I know or people who I played shows with or people who are in my lane. And then I might email those people and say, hey, great playing the show with you in Colorado. I'm looking to book a show in LA. Looks like you've played at this place, right? What do you think about that? And so we'll have some dialogue. It takes about a week through email, maybe DMs on Instagram, whatever we're doing to communicate, right?
Right.
And so then I kind of know the lay of the land. And so they may tell me, hey, this venue that you really want to play at, it's rental only, and it's got all these high production costs. And so unless you're going to bring 300 people in, you're going to lose money. And oh, by the way, that my friend's telling me, I've lost money there. That's how I know. Okay. And so you're sort of going to get rid of venues that they probably work for somebody, but they don't work for me because I'm not going to bring 300 people in LA, right?
Right.
And so you kind of get rid of your 25 now becomes 10. And so now in my opinion, you're ready to reach out to 10 and you go, okay, hey, Mr. 10, how do you do booking? We'll figure out who all the people are involved in booking, and I'll send an opening email. Short and sweet. I'm Mark. I'm from Sugarland. I'm on the Good Vibes Highway Tour. I'm touring the West Coast on these dates, and I'd love to play a show for you guys, and I'll list 3 or 4, 5 dates that work for me in the email. And oh, by the way, here's my EPK, brief, and if you want to listen to my music, as particular as all these venues are, what I would normally do is send them my Spotify link. No. They want a Bandcamp link. Why? Because the Bandcamp audio player doesn't have any overhead with it, and you don't have to have an account. So you can just hit the little button and listen to the snippet. Right?
Good
Okay.
info.
Clever.
Okay.
So, all right, so you do all that, even though I don't have a Bandcamp I mean, I have a presence, but I don't sell music on Bandcamp. You could buy it if you wanted to, but I'm just an artist at my level in the discovery mode I'm in. It's TikTok, it's YouTube, it's Spotify. Those are the big influential people in discovery for me, not Bandcamp. But anyway, so the link's in there. And so those either Typically, they'll ignore you because they don't know you. Like, okay, delete. We read it, but we deleted it. Okay, and then I'll send another email, and usually they'll read that one and they'll delete it. Usually, it's the third email. So the third email, and they're all different. It's not the same email every time.
Right. You got to
And
mix
so
it
the
up.
third email, usually they're like, "Hey, we have this date open," or "We want to talk to you," or "Give us a reference," or there'll be some interaction.
Right.
Okay, so this is happening a year in advance of me being in LA, by the way. So I started this process. And so we may be 10 months away. And so they may say, hey, we don't book this far in advance. A lot of people do, but maybe they don't. Okay, so hit me back up again on this date. So the way I typically remember that is I'll write the follow-up email and I'll put it on the send later function of my email, right? Because I know when they told me to send it. So I don't have to open a tab in my brain to remember it. I just hit the send later, right? But I write the email out and I'll hit go.
Brilliant.
So good.
And then it sends the thing. So now we're, let's say, 8 months away, and they've said, hey, we're interested, and I've got 4 other people that are interested. And this guy wants 2 opening acts. This guy wants me to be on somebody else's ticket. I got choices, right? But let's say I agree on 1 venue. And so I go, okay, here's the date we mutually agreed. Usually they have a performance contract or a writer of some kind that they'll send me, or they'll ask me to send them that says, hey, what are the terms of the show? So it's tickets, it's store split, it's whatever it is. Do I get to sell my own merch? Is there a 360 clause? What are all the financial parameters? And so I get all those together, and then we agree. And then I think at that point in time, my work's just begun, because I may have to get opening acts. I got to put up events everywhere. I got to make social media content. I got to do posters. I got to do media outreach, blah, 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 blah. But that's all after the initial agreement. We agreed on a date, in a financial arrangement, right? Was that detailed enough for you, Lance, or was you want more sausage?
Quite
That was
detailed.
That was precisely what I was after. That really satisfied. Wow, that was like 3-course meal. Thank you. It was really good. That's exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to like the process of what this looks like. Like, I think that people really do think that it's like, but they didn't respond to my email, and I'm like, what, your first one?
Yeah.
And they're like,
hello.
I'm like,
right. Or even it gets me better. Like, the venue's not doing anything to promote my show. Oh my God. Like, how many musicians do I talk to that say that?
oh, really? Still?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
I'm like, okay, let me
yeah.
ask you this. What do you think a promoter does? Right? They're like, well, I don't know. I've never worked with one. Well, I say, go look it up and learn a little bit. But the net of it is a promoter's job is to take a venue and an act and either take financial risk as a promoter or not. But their job is to fill the venue up.
Yep.
They do the media, they do the social media. I mean, you're going to participate with them. They're going to work with you on all these elements. But they're very good at this. They're very good at saying, okay, here's the venue, here's the community, here's how the media works, here's how people get drawn in, here are the influencers. They know kind of how to pull all the buttons together. The problem is promoters don't work below typically 1,000-seat venue because it's too small for them.
Right.
But that doesn't mean the function is absent. That just means, Lance, it's your show. Guess who the promoter is? You think it's going to be Erin the venue or Lance the artist?
It's the artist every time.
It's you. Okay, so gear it up, because
Yeah.
the venue, they're going to say, look, I'll book a tribute band to the Eagles on this night, or I'll book you. Well, I know the tribute band and their ticket history, and they're going to fill it up.
Yep.
Why would I take a chance on you? You're saying, well, I got fans in the area too. So, okay, well, you know what? Do it. Bring them in then.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying, well, are you going to help me promote? I'm not helping the Eagles tribute band promote. I'll put you on my website, and I'll put your name up on the marquee for the day of the show.
Yeah.
That's promotion.
And
No. and then you end up with 3 people in your show, and they never have you back
Right.
because you don't know how to promote, right?
If
So I think to me, you know, it's super sexy and exciting to get a booking. I'm going to play the Whiskey a Go-Go. Yay.
Right.
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 Well, where are the 1,000 people that you need to come from to fill it up?
Mm-hmm.
They're not just
Yeah.
going to see your name on the sign and come in.
Yeah. And with the rise of things like guarantees, and the indemnifications against liability that venues are bringing in, there's obviously a lot of like, I wouldn't say controversy. People have like their own loaded opinions on those things. They have their opinions on like what it should be versus the reality. I don't really have any particular ones. I don't. A venue is a specific type of thing, and I have no hatred or resentment toward any venue in the world, man, because can you imagine running a venue in this day and age?
Right.
Look,
Like,
look, you know, this is my view. Like you talk about competency.
mm,
Taylor Swift has tremendous business competency. You can like her music, you can not like her music.
right,
But let me tell you, she has the Eros tour. She sells the whole tour out.
right,
Yep.
What do you think the venues are doing that? Nope. You think her label did that? Nope. She did it. She has the game, right? And so my personal goal as a artist, from a financial point of view, is to have a sustainable community that I'm engaging at my level, but like Taylor Swift, where they're there for my story and my music and to be a part of my community,
right,
and they want to come to a live show, right? I'm not looking for 20 million viral hits on my TikTok. That would be nice, but only if it brought me my 1,000
right,
dedicated fans, right? That would
right.
want to come see a live show. Because I'm not a TikTok influencer. It's a channel for me. I'm a live music professional, right? And so I study the people who have good business ground games and they know how to do it. And I try to do that at my level.
Yep.
And we were talking to Erin earlier about endurance. That's there's a concept in marketing called the lifetime value of a customer, right?
Yes,
So
the
like,
LTV.
Yeah.
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 and so like, okay, I'm working on Lance to be one of my fans,
Right.
and I need Lance to be with me for at least 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I want him to come to 2 shows in 10 years, and I want him to buy at least 1 piece of merch. And to me, I'll feel like that's a success. People don't think like that. People think like,
No,
oh my God, my concert's next week. I'm going to text
Yeah.
everybody I know with an aggressive
Yeah.
text to show up to
Yeah.
my concert, right? And what do you think Lance is, the first time Lance might say, okay, Mart, fine. Out of
Yeah.
obligation, I'll come.
Right.
But then every other thing he hears from me, he's just going to ignore it because he has this bad taste in his mouth that I guilted him into coming to my show,
Yep.
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Instead of him wanting to come and him being with me for 10 years,
Right.
right? And so for me, it's like I'm playing this long-term game, not a game, but it's a long-term commitment I'm making to my community and my fans, and they're making to me. Hey, come with me on this journey. Let's make the world a little brighter. Let's have fun and a good sense of community at a live show. And, let's do it over a long period of time so we have this committed relationship.
Yeah.
That's super helpful for both of us.
And I literally could not improve upon that answer. I mean, I could try, but this is why we talk to the people we do and we invite the people we do, because we know from speaking with them previously, like, damn, I would love to have, we have a short list of like people that we want to ask. So
Oh yeah.
Well, I
made that
appreciate
short
you guys having me. Yeah, I love y'all's vibe, and you guys are hardworking, just like I am. I really appreciate your work ethic.
you are an absolute, like, I can't even say soldier because that just implies like falling into line for someone else's orders. You are like a trailblazer when it comes to your vibe. And there's literally nothing. I have this this course that I've been creating, and it was basically like my the question I had for myself was, there's because we kept on seeing these random things that artists just hadn't done, but not only hadn't done, just had never even thought of, like
Right.
random stuff. Like, I'm not talking about like, oh, they hadn't considered content pillars. No, no. This isn't, we're nowhere near social media right now. I'm talking about like, have you got a performing rights organization? Have you signed up for a sound exchange? Do you have your mechanical license royalties set up or whatever the hell? Like, have you got like an LLC if you're in the States, or are you do you have like an account that's going to be clean and okay for receiving funds and isn't going to get gobble up whatever with some weird checking overdraft that you're constantly say coming out of, like this is the kind of stuff that
Ah,
like foundations, right? Like the
yeah.
basic of the basics. And yet, if you there's this great moment in True Detective season 1 where he's like, well, you want the answers, don't you? Well, why don't you start asking the right effing questions?
Yeah.
Trying to stay PG for thing. Just this very rare moment. Erin's like,
What?
really? Right now is
Yeah.
the
Thank
time
you.
to, right now is the time to
Thank you for
censor.
that.
My pleasure. But like, it's all about asking the right questions. So what you're reminding me of is like, you have such a fundamental and comprehensive understanding that it really does lend me confidence with what I've been trying to do on my side with foundations. Because we have like the green room, which is our community where we're trying to, have host the course in its entirety and do exactly what this was today. Just have the conversations, the questions, the comments, the shared community aspect, and actually have that so that it's not the thing that always irks me is when everything is just a money making exercise. So that community, the green room, is free,
Yeah.
and I've got a hard thing on that right now, and it is accessible because I'm still developing it. I'm still writing it. I'm on my third rewrite because I'm trying my
I,
best to like. You like you have to first of all you have to decide. Okay, well, what goes in? Oh, everything ever. That's that's just
Cool.
the internet. So you can't just put the internet into a course. That's not going to teach anybody anything. So then you have
yeah.
to discern between those things. I just this part, what you just said, I mean, I swear, I feel like you could have your own like lesson in and among that on just the booking portion, but yours is such
Absolutely.
alpha, like such next level that that's the next step down, where next step up, where like that's the developed part. So, apologies if you can hear my cat, by the way. I have fed him and I have given him water and I've done everything I can for him, but
He's needy, man. He just wants some love, brother.
yeah, that's not enough. I need your attention. I'm like,
That.
of course you do, Lou. I've only pet you like for 30
Yeah.
minutes today. That's a
Yeah. My cats get very insistent.
oh yeah,
They come, they're ready. They're like, they come plop in the lap and they meow and they sit
oh
on
yeah,
everything that you're doing.
yep.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you doing an important live AMA? Yeah, I don't care. You had better love me. I
That's
in
awesome.
wrapping up because I don't want to get too long with it. I do want to like be able to finish up in like a nice take our time with wrapping up, but I do want to start to wind down. Yeah, I really love like how detailed it is, but there's such a I think from my own experience as a musician when I was doing it back in 2010, um, it was there was such a negative bias against learning anything. Like if I use the word marketing, it was like it would give people the ick,
Hmm.
right? But
Yep.
this
Right.
is the problem is like sometimes it's down to scene, and by scene I mean a very specific network of people, and that specific scene was very happy to like be doomed to obscurity and dying out because that was like a mark of pride almost.
I completely agree with that. I meet so many people who are just phenomenal musicians and performers. right? Like I did a show with Benson Boone at I won the Music Beats Cancer Challenge, and so we did
Right.
Jingle Ball in Washington D.C.
Yes,
together,
yes, I remember
right?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know he didn't have the big giant entourage or whatever else, but he's a very thoughtful person, nice, and an amazing performer, right? Uh, and found success by saying no several times, like The Voice or American Idol or whatever. So he said no a few times because he knew he had his plan, right? Kind of
Interesting.
like Taylor Swift had her plan, right?
Right.
And she was going to do the thing. So I meet so many people who are phenomenal performers like that, right? Phenomenal writers. I love your thought. Doomed, I'm dooming myself to failure, and I'm okay with that. It's like, okay, you're right. Yeah, you hate social media, you
Yeah.
hate marketing, you
Right.
hate trying to earn a fan, right? You just want to be a good musician. Okay, well, you know what? Go get in your closet and
Yeah.
sing to yourself,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? Because that's all you're going to get, right? And you can be mad at the venue, you can be mad at everybody else.
Right.
To me, those people need someone to come save them. They need you guys, whatever. They need Lance and Erin to come and say, okay, look, you be the prima donna. It's okay, but realize, kind of like Elvis and his manager, realize that Elvis's manager was just as important in his success as Elvis himself. And each
Yep.
one of them carried the project almost on their own back several times, right? But
Yep.
they were both super important in the success. So if you want to be a prima donna, my advice to you is this: realize it, be aware, and then find a manager who's just as good as you are at doing the management side, and delegate it to them, right? And then find that happy partnership, because that's the only way you're going to make it. Because if you have no business acumen yourself and you're not willing to delegate it, you ain't going anywhere.
No.
This is my theory.
And I think that there's so much to be said for like learning the in business. There's the horizontal and vertical integration. The
Yeah.
verts or straights as some of the tech bros like to get into. That for you, you actually run Bernoulli Records. Like it, you know, you've taken it on because you have your own throughput. You have the understanding, and you have the drive, the passion to go through and pursue these things and see, no, it interests me, and it's also in my interests. Because it's in my interests, it interests me, almost, I would say. I might argue for you, you know? And
And I would
so,
argue, like, okay, who likes to practice the piano? I mean, I don't think you're born wanting to play the same piece 2,000 times,
I see.
right?
Yeah.
But if you're a smart musician and you want to be a musician as a career, you learn to find the enjoyment in the practice, because, hey,
Yep.
you get to perform probably, what, 2% of the time?
Mm,
That's a public performance. And 98% of the time, it's rehearsal.
yep.
So guess what? Learn to enjoy your rehearsal. I don't like social media. I didn't like it to start with, but I've learned to like it, and I've learned the fun elements to it. And I can have fun now creating reels and TikToks and content. It doesn't bother me. I'm proficient at it. I like it. So I
And
think
it
if you know
shows.
it's necessary, right?
And it shows. That's the
Yeah.
difference. Is people
But
can
you have to know, yeah, you have to know it's necessary. And then you got to say, okay, get over yourself and make
Yep.
your TikToks today, right? Get over yourself and make your reels, right? It's time to sing your vocal track for your next song. You know what? Don't procrastinate. Get up there, get on the mic, sing your tracks, comp your own vocals. If you don't, it's going to cost you more time, because you know what's going to happen. Your producer may not have the same ear for your vocal line as you do, right? So there's things that I've learned that matter and move the needle, and that I need to be good at. And I've learned to enjoy those.
It's beautiful. This is it. It's like there's very much what are you willing to put up with because it means the greater goal. It's very human. Humans are the best. We're the number one species when it comes to that is delayed gratification.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, primates, we just know that like, hey, this is the marshmallow test. Sorry, but like, do you want five? Are you willing to wait 10 minutes? Okay, there you go. Deprive
Yeah,
yourself now so that you can thrive possibly later. That's the thing. It's like
the
how
possible
certain
part.
possible. So this is the perceived likelihood of achieving that.
Yeah,
That's the part that we got to be careful about because as with everything in music and frankly in any creative industry, if anyone says, "Well, actually, there's a sure thing here," you go, "Absolutely
Oh,
not," because that is
yeah,
nope. You walk away from that right away. They're like, "Well, I can get you guaranteed cut." No, thank you to everything else that just came out of your mouth. Because
yeah.
anytime there's a sure thing, where's the stick? There's an excellent. It's one of my favorite phrases that I've heard in. I think it was on Justified, one of those fantastic like shows that just I don't know. Timothy
Yeah, we
Oliphant
were
rocks it.
we were uh, we were hiking in the backcountry of Alaska, tent camping, and our guide said at the beginning of our excursion, uh, there's a lot of suffering that will incur on this trip. But I'm here to tell you that the degree of joy that you're going to receive getting to the places that we're going is going to be more than the suffering. And most people can handle the suffering to get to the amazing joy on the other side. Right? I'm like, okay.
amazing.
You start thinking about it. You're like, yeah, if I know where I'm going and I know it's really going to be amazing there, I'm really able to endure a lot.
I
And the
love
more
that.
you can endure, the more beautiful a place you can arrive at. Anyway,
No, I love it. That's
poetic.
Yeah, that's
that
great.
we have to end on that because that more than anything else in the world says it so succinctly. That's hold on, I'm marking that clip. Uh, um, wow. I mean, what a bombastic way to end that. All. Thank you for giving drop. That's a mic drop and a half. Oh my gosh, I got to do the sign offs. Now somehow follow that up. It's going to be very dry in comparison. First of all, thank you, because like every time I talk to you, I just feel like I'm getting like some people you talk to and you can already it's like a vampiric like energy just like you can feel it you're like
Yeah.
I'm like literally I'm like I have a health meter shows up. I almost feel like I don't know if you've ever played Elden Ring, but like
L-
as soon as the boss health bar shows up and I'm like that's what some people feel like. I'm like okay, I am
Yep.
going to withstand and do my best to make my way through this interaction, but then
Lance is the raid boss. That's him. Get it, brother. Okay.
that's exactly so right. But then there's other people that you're just like, man, I feel like my health bar is getting like longer, like there's more health. I don't know. I just anyway, I gotta sign off sooner because otherwise I'll say
Yeah.
more nice things and it's gonna get weird. But no, in all seriousness, thank you as always because every time that we do get to talk, it's always a treat. And you take such like it's just your way of looking at things and your sensibility and also the way of doing it. This is exactly what we keep on preaching all the time at V13 because we just have the same values. Anyway, thank you so much for coming on to the live AMA. If you have a chance to plug anything that's happening next, obviously you're kicking off the tour tomorrow. Tell people where they can find you.
For sure. Well, first of all, thank you, Lance and Erin, for having me. I always enjoy our conversations. Um, I think for me, I just released a new song Friday. It's called Into the Flow, and it's about all those amazing things in life that just take the world away and let you immerse yourself in them and just escape into it for me, surfing or playing music, right? Reading a good book, all those I can just sort of sink into and just feel like I'm in the flow. Um, so that one just came out Friday, and I'm excited about it. If you want to hear it live, you can hit my website up, markwintersmusic.com, and the Good Vibes Highway Tour tickets and locations are there, and you can find my streaming links as well. And then if you really want some positive energy in your email box, you could join the Good Vibes or the Positive Vibe Tribe, which is the name of my email group. So all things Mark Winters can be found there.
Love it. Love it. And yeah, big fan of your newsletter as well. I signed up and I
Thank you.
love seeing it pop up in my inbox, and I get to give it a quick read, and gives me a chance to finally like it gives me a chance also to like understand, and also like some hope that there is a musician out there that is using this to their benefit, like, and doing it precisely. There's like some people think that it's like, oh, I don't want to have to bug them, and I'm like, what are you talk? It's social media somehow, like, but email is like the thing that's going to burden. Please, anyway. Uh,
Email.
anyway,
What it's I perform with these teenagers, and they said email smells like old people. I
okay,
was like, okay,
all
that is
right.
exactly the TikTok generation right there. That's the Roblox. The Roblox
That's
generation is
so.
talking
Oh
for
man, and
that
it's
for
so
sure.
funny because like I know that from speaking with Gen Z, they are so allergic to anything like fake, and
Yep.
they are so against what they consider like,
Punctuation.
yeah, well, yeah, and being cringe, and it's like literally the most inauspicious, most regular, most normal, most the least amount of airs and graces is email. It's like literally one of the most like uncontrolled things,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But like, yeah, sure, okay. Let's just give all our money and attention to Meta and TikTok and like, got it, okay.
Because
Anyway,
it's easy anyway. For sure.
yeah.
Love to
So
see y'all out on the tour for sure. If any of your listeners are on the Good Vibes Highway, love to share those protons in person.
absolutely. So go listen to the latest single. Go look at the tour dates, and if he's
Yep.
playing anywhere near you, go stand in that room because, like he said, protons, baby. This whole conversation is going to go up on the channel, and we're going to be pulling pieces of it out over the next couple weeks. Uh, if you're building this thing on your own, that's what the green room is for. It's free artist development from V13. I have got it over 12 modules. I know 13 modules would have been the thing to do, but I also count the Start Here lesson as its own module. So technically it's 13. Anyway, 64 lessons, and every single one of them ends in something built, filed, or registered, not something that you just learn and never do it. I mean, it's literally something that you're holding when you're done, because I don't like having lessons that don't have something tangible to them. Um, and they're all live right now. I can't say that they're all very good, but they're all being worked on as well. And that's part of why it is free, is because, well, the thing is, it does cost nothing, but it isn't free. You do the work in public, you answer a post that isn't yours, and when something works, you say so on the record. And I get to use that as a testimonial.
Yay! It worked.
School.com slash V13 7161. It's in the description. Small room in there right now. Honestly, that's the best time to be in it. But no matter what, if you post your work, I'll answer it. Anyway, we're back Wednesday. Nope, we're not back next Wednesday. We are not. I don't say that. We are going to have a 2 week blackout, ladies and gentlemen. We're back here in September. So watch this space. Yeah, that's right. Mark Winters was the mic drop for that before the
What?
blackout period. I know. I know. No matter what, just make sure it'll be the same thing, free, public, no sign up. That's how we do it up in here. That's it. Now go make something. Mark, stick around for a minute, and we're just going to stop the live stream right now.
All right, guys.
Ending stream.